Blau here. We just got to Cincinnati and we're going to do a quick interview with Twist on PR. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Doing real well, doing real well.
Great. So I just have a couple questions for you.
Sure.
About your latest work and EDM in general.
Absolutely.
So the first question is, how was it working with bright lights, and were you in the same room, or was it kind of a long distance kind of deal?
Yeah, so, well, the first track that Bright Lights and I did, Escape, was just distant. I mean, she's in LA, I'm in Vegas, and sent her the track, she loved it, we knocked that out really fast. With How You Love Me, the new record, basically, I was eating lunch with her at Katsuya in LA, and I was just showing her a bunch of new tracks, and I was like, yeah, there's this one song, I've been working on it for a year and a half, no one's nailed the vocal, and she heard it, she's like, let me do it. I was like, what? She's like, this is a hit, let me do it. I said, okay. 2 days later, she sends me the most beautiful top line vocal, and I remember literally sitting in the studio and listening to it, and it was just a rough demo, it wasn't even mixed. Jumping up and down, I was probably in tears for a moment because I was like, wow. Like, I didn't even envision that kind of vocal over the song, and she just destroyed it. So, it was awesome.
Yeah, I think she was definitely a great choice for that. Usually, I kind of go over questions with my readers, and my mom's one of them. So that question was from her.
Oh, nice. That's
like,
awesome.
Oh, you know who he is. So
that's so funny.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So that's really cool.
Cool.
So my next question is, who are your biggest influencers?
So I draw a lot of my musical influence, I would say, from outside of dance music. I grew up listening to Radiohead, Sigur Rós, Interpol, like Broken Social Scene, a lot of indie punk rock bands, and that's kind of where I drew a lot of my inspiration from. I listen to a lot of ambient music, a lot of epic cinematic music, and I wanted all of my dance music to kind of follow that epicness. So kind of whatever I do, even though I make lots of different styles, I want it to have that same, whether it's an uplifting effect or, in the case of Vikings, just an absolute insanity, almost cinematic effects. And that's kind of where I'm moving with my music, just trying to do really different cinematic, epic style things. So in terms of dance music, my biggest inspirations are like Porter, Cascade, a lot of the guys that have just made game-changing music, and that's kind of what I hope to eventually do, is make a track like Language that just absolutely changes the game. I don't think I've done it yet, but I really hope to.
Yeah, I think you're on your way.
Hopefully.
Do you think social media has helped your career, and if so, how?
My career wouldn't exist if Facebook or Twitter or Instagram wouldn't exist. I mean, that's where my entire demographic is spending 50% of their life, honestly. I mean, you're talking about kids on Twitter, Facebook all the time, news feeds, whether they're drunk, sober, doing homework, studying for an exam. Every single college kid is on social media at least half the day, and in their sleep. I mean, what am I going to post on Facebook tomorrow? Like, I'm thinking about that as Blau. People are thinking about that as girls taking selfies. I mean, it's everywhere. And so being conscious of that, I think, really kicked off my career in a way that no one could have done 5 years ago. So I think I just got very lucky with the timing of everything. EDM kind of on its rise, me making mashups and putting it out through social media. It was just the right cocktail for success.
I agree. Did you set out to create the Blau brand, or do you think it kind of just happened?
You know, I think it kind of just happened, and it's evolved in a lot of ways. I think that Blau at first was the college mashup DJ. It's now morphing into being a mashup artist in the sense of I do everything. I make all different kinds of music. I don't want to stick myself to one style because I think that's really limiting. And being a producer, you know, once I do one thing, I would get bored if I tried to do the same thing over and over again. I'd like to conquer lots of different genres, play with lots of different instruments, play lots of different kinds of shows with different experiences that I can create with, whether it's Blau House or any style of tour. And so for me, it's just Blau's hopefully going to constantly evolve and not lose fans along the way. Hopefully the listeners will appreciate everything I do for what it is.
If you could choose one song, any song, to represent you and your brand, what would it be?
For me, How You Love Me is definitely, I would say, the most representative of the kind of music that I want to continue making and the style that I personally love. I hope to evolve it even more and mix in lots of different elements with that style. In terms of other people's music, I think, you know, some of my favorite music was a little bit on the older side, like Raining by Cascade. Obviously Language from Porter is one of my favorites, and I also really like some of the techie stuff that I hope to make in the future, like Chami's Deep House style is insane, Oliver Heldens' New Kid on the Block, absolutely killing it. And I just hope to kind of mix all of those different styles in what Blau is going to become, just literally the mashup artist.
Okay. Let's see. What advice would you give to those who are finding themselves at a crossroads between doing what people expect them to do and what they really want to do career-wise and what they're passionate about?
You know, it's interesting because I like the way that you asked that question. I think a lot of people ask, what's the best advice you can give to an upcoming producer? That's not gonna help anybody. I think the way you asked it, in the sense of how does somebody pursue something that they want to truly do as opposed to what everybody else expects them to do? That's the right way to phrase that question. And that's kind of where my entire career started. Everybody in my life expected me to go into finance. My dad was in finance. I went to school for finance. It was drilled into my head from the time I was a kid. There's nothing wrong with that. I legitimately enjoyed business and marketing and the financial valuation side of studies of my studies at Washington University. And I think that for me, there was always something missing from that. And I knew that even though I was going to make a great salary coming out of college, because everybody in finance does, I would have felt empty for my entire life. And there was a point in my career where in my musical career, where I was confident enough in myself to take the risk and say, okay, I have to do something. And it's interesting enough that one of my college professors, actually, Glenn McDonald, who I shout out in every interview, was one of the biggest reasons why I did leave school to pursue music, because he was the one to convince my parents that you only have one shot, and when you even have the smallest opening, if you don't take it, you're going to regret it 10, 5, 20, 30 years down the road that you didn't take that shot. And I'm just so happy that I did and that I took the risk, and it's evolved into what it is today.
Yeah, I think a lot of people need to kind of just jump in and take that risk.
Absolutely.
What they want to do. You've mentioned in recent interviews that you don't want to just produce EDM. What do you think you'll work on next?
Well, I've actually been working on a bunch of stuff that's not EDM driven. I mean, it's dance music and it's electronic, but it's not like your typical club music. And it's interesting. I have a track that I wouldn't even tag with a genre. It's just kind of a 137 beats per minute with trap drums, but it's got a really melodic bass. It's really different. I also have a record that I just threw up on the internet the other day that I made on my flight. It's just called Flight 1861 that I just put up on the internet. It was getting so much great feedback, and then Heather called me and she's like, yo, this is like insane, take it down, I want to work on it. And I was like, yeah, sure, Heather. And she of course sent me something 2 days later. That's amazing. So for me, you know, I'm constantly working on other styles, and when I'm touring, it's a little bit difficult. But in July and August, I'm going to take some time at home and spend my time doing a little bit more with instrumentation. I've been experimenting with a lot of like samplers that, you know, whether it's acoustic guitars, pianos, more techie drums as opposed to hard-hitting club drums, and I'm just hoping that my fans kind of love my musical style, and I hope that musical epic style can carry across all the different genres that I want to operate in. I also have an acoustic version of How You Love Me that's going to come out. It's just piano and Heather's voice, which is awesome.
So will we hear any of this on your upcoming EP?
So yeah, I have an EP. It's called the Byways EP, coded like it's just a working name that I have going for right now, and it's 5 tracks and an acoustic version. One of the songs I'm singing on, Don't Wait, and I'm going to do an acoustic version of that. So the goal of the EP is to have 2 records that are clubby and dancey, 2 records that are just genreless and work within different worlds. They're not necessarily songs that every DJ is going to play, but they're just more musical. And then that 5th track is going to be an acoustic version. So that's hopefully going to come out by the end of the year. All the music for that is written. I just haven't 100% produced every track, and that's going to be really fun for me because it's the first body of work of my own that I'm ever going to release, and I'm just really excited because I think all the tracks are so different in their own way, and I was inspired in a different way to make each one of them.
That's exciting. So many of the leading DJs are a bit older than, well, you and a lot of people that listen to EDM. Do you think being close in age to your fans and having the same mindset Do you believe it allows you to connect more with them?
1000%. I think, you know, and Rob Hardwell is a really great friend of mine. We just both played shows in Columbus, and his show was sold out, crazy, huge, amazing. There were a couple kids that came up to me after my show that were at his show. And Hardwell is maybe the best DJ around. I'm not even close to as skilled and awesome as he is. He's been doing this since he's 14. But what they said to me was, you know, I love the Hardwell set, but your set, there was something special about it because you were out in front with us. You were jumping and going crazy with us. You weren't standing behind the booth waving your arms around. You were really getting involved in the performance. And I think that people really appreciate that. And it makes the entire experience more of a party than a show, and that's what I want to do. Like I want to throw parties in cities. I don't want to go and have people pay to watch me flail my arms around and press some buttons. You know, I want to create an experience.
Do you see this kind of setting evolving for EDM shows in the future?
I think it has to. You know, I think there's going to be a point where everybody's seen Sander Van Doren 3 times. Everybody's seen Hardball 3 times. So what's next? I mean, it's not going to be the same dude behind the DJ booth flailing his arms around with some LEDs. It's got to change in order to keep up with the demand and everybody's constantly evolving tastes. And so, to me, like, some of the stuff we're trying to do for my first headlining tour is gonna be a little bit different. It's gonna be a lot more about throwing the party, like I said, than just watching the DJ.
Do you think cities like Cincinnati will evolve into cities like Chicago or LA? Because Cincinnati,
in terms of like a dance music scene?
Yes.
Absolutely. I think like I've been to some of these Midwest markets 1 or 2 times in the past 3 years, and each time I come, more and more people know what's going on in dance music. I think that we're not going to see the peak for a long, long time. It's just getting started.
So more and more we're hearing EDM stream through not only US dance radio, but top 40. Why do you think its popularity has grown, and what do you think helped make that jump?
Well, I think a lot of pop music is dance music to an extent. It's always something that you can move to. The thing is that dance music producers can do it better than the older pop producers that are a little bit out of touch with what's hot right now. And so it's really an interesting thing to see. You have Tiesto's Red Lights, you have Martin Garrix's Animals, you have obviously Levels back in the day. All of these records are breaking through the mainstream because the music is just great. You don't need a Katy Perry singing on something to make it a pop hit anymore. There's tons of amazing voices out there. And I love Katy Perry's voice. I think Lady Gaga, to me, is a pop icon, but I don't love her voice. You know, I don't think she's got any uniqueness, any feeling or emotion that some of these dance music vocalists have that can bring to the table. So when you mix maybe somebody who might be less known with a beat that's absolutely screaming catchy, you come out with products that are better than the mainstream pop factory that's been doing this recycling stuff for 30 years. And you know, I'm hoping some of my records break through. Some of the records that have broken through, I think Animals is a mainstream record. It's an unbelievable phenomenon.
As a DJ and producer, what do you believe is a major factor in continuing the growth of EDM?
Continuing the growth of EDM, I like that question. I think there are 3 main factors to dance music growing in the United States and beyond. Number 1 is the music has to constantly evolve, and the only artists that are going to have longevity in the game are the artists that are going to anticipate what that next big thing is. And you know, right now we're in this phase of big room, kick, crazy music, and what I'm noticing, and I play it because it works, you can't do it for an hour and a half. It's tiring. It's really wearing on a crowd. You have to mix in other stuff, and people are beginning to realize that, both crowds and DJs, that's not good enough. And I think we're going to start seeing an evolution in musical taste. Maybe it pulls from the UK in the deep house scene. I don't think that's really happening anytime soon. But there's so many other styles that are popular in other places that I think will begin to grow popular in the US. And I also think that there are more styles that haven't even been discovered yet that are going to hit in a really, really major way. So the first way dance music is going to grow is just in musical style and people pushing boundaries. The second way is in the live show experience. I mean, I think that people really need to start being creative. It's not about just standing behind the stage and flailing your arms around. There has to be something unique One of the things Tiesto's done, which was really, really cool, is he has these LED bracelets, and when he plays red lights, they all glow at the same time with the beat. You know, that's an awesome experience if I'm in a crowd seeing an LED bracelet matching with the beat. It's an unbelievable when you're screwed up a little bit in the club. It's amazing, and I think that we need to keep pushing those boundaries in the live experience and doing things that nobody's done before. That's 2. 3, I think that the industry is going to need to evolve a little bit in terms of where the industry sees value in an artist and in an experience. I think right now, people in the industry are just so quick to hop on like, oh, this guy's got this many fans, let's do that. This guy's got, oh, let's do that. When in reality, it's moving away from the music a little bit too much. It's a lot of hype, a little bit less about the true content, the amazing creative content. And the industry is just spitting out videos of live shows, people going nuts, crowds going crazy, thousands, tens of thousands of people. That's not what I care about as a fan. That just looks cool to somebody in the industry, their numbers and things. What's cool is to watch a kid just like me get a Blau Bang condom in the middle of a set. You know, the industry, I don't think, is thinking about that right now. I think the industry is thinking strictly in terms of numbers, radio plays, stuff like that. And I think when the industry starts to expand its horizon of expectations on artists and on experiences, we'll start to see way more creative stuff coming out. So it's a long answer for the growth of EDM, but
I don't think a short answer would have fit for that. So
of course.
Great answer.
Awesome.
That's it. Thank you for
Thanks so much. We got some good sound bites from that.
Shit.
What?
I wasn't recording.
You weren't recording the whole time?
No.
The whole time?
It's not something.